Darren, it was a point on Tuesday against Ebbsfleet. There was no doubt it was a strong performance. Generally, we had over 20 shots. We just couldn't find that winner. What are your reflections?
I thought they did perform very well. I thought the limitation that we gave to Ebbsfleet was very pleasing, and really that the game could have been out of sight by half time. I can't remember too many games in my career really where after 15 minutes we could have been 4 goals up. And that doesn't mean we made 4 chances, we made more than the 4 in the 15 minutes. And I like the way the energy of the team felt. I really like the aggression in the players and their intent, especially after the travelling that we did at the weekend. And no, in terms of all of the warm fuzzy bits, their attitude and character, I thought they were excellent, really excellent. I think it's the best. It's the best that I've seen Kellerman and Anderson so far. I thought we were strong. Odesina made a very good start to his Woking time. And it just makes it that bit more disappointing that we didn't win the game. And I think we'll look back at the end of the season and say, you know, that'll be one that we definitely pinpoint as whatever total we accumulate, it will be too short of maybe what we should have.
It is now 6 unbeaten, and we're looking a lot closer to how we did last season compared to the start of this season. What would you attribute that to, despite the injuries we've had?
I think a lot of the players that were here last year have regained that form and identity. So there's that natural consistency. When you look at Moss and Casey in particular, I think Jääskeläinen's form has been strong. And as I've just alluded to with Jim and Jermaine, I think that's been a huge part of it, especially for the newer players coming in and recognising what the expectations are here within our dressing room and within our training practices. I think they've led the way brilliantly, really, really well. And I think once you start to recognise a thread within your team that can equate to more points, I think it's just the encouragement of that on training pitch. Analysis in particular, Ian is very, very good analytically, very, very good. And I think repeating those messages over and over again with evidence, with pictures. We use a lot of statistical data here, so we can back that up, so we know what a win looks like in numbers to us. And I think when you're constantly ingraining those aspects into players, you just have to be consistent. We know exactly how we want it to look, and I would say Tuesday is the closest it has looked. I agree with that, but what we're not able to do after Tuesday night is show an evidence that equates to a win. So, but you know, I would say the players are in pretty good form right now.
And you alluded to it a couple of weeks ago that we are in the market looking for additions. How's that going?
Well, I think generally across the country, and I mean across the country because that's my net is very fortunately nationwide. I think there's so many teams struggling with injury. I think there's a lot of teams still trying to find their way. The teams that are winning don't want to disrupt. The teams that are losing are normally the teams that have got the injury problems, so they can't afford to release any players. And we're obviously looking for a certain type of player now, and a certain level of player. It's very hard to find it. We had several bids rejected for a forward in the Conference South, which was disappointing. But that's the business of football. John and Drew have been very, very supportive. We still know that the finances that we that we were compensated in, especially with Daly. We know that's still there. If we can, if we identify someone we think we can help. The loan market's been very challenging because, as I said, I think squads are very thin, threadbare. And young players, it's a completely different world out there for young players. I mean, we're so fortunate to have got Timmy and Zach Bradshaw and Nana. They're brilliant characters, absolutely brilliant characters. So we need to just keep working away, but we work very hard at that. I mean, all my time over the last 2 or 3 weeks has been recruitment. I'm not actually too worried about having 1 less on the bench or 2 less on the bench. I want to have good players with me. I don't just want to fill spaces for the sake of filling spaces. I don't think that's a great message. The board and the owners know my feelings on that, because the minute you don't have a full bench, I think the easiest and obvious thing to do is to criticise the hierarchy, the ownership. But that's my call, that's not their call, and we all agree that we want to work with a certain standard of player here, so we're going to wait and keep working away until we find the right ones. We hope by the middle of next week at least 2 will be available.
And tomorrow it's York at home on the telly. What have you made them so far? What can we expect?
Well, their best signing, without doubt, in my mind, is Neil Ardley. Brilliant appointment. And that in itself is enough for any manager to stand to attention and recognise that this is a strong coach, very strong coach, brilliant guy. I always try and speak well of other managers, but Neil in particular, brilliant guy. And that's their best piece of recruitment. Neil. I think it's a fantastic coup for the club to have someone like that. So we have to ensure that whatever we think we are and whatever we think they may do, we double down on everything, because the strength and the message from someone like Neil is so powerful that that it can inspire and motivate players to levels that they've not yet maybe met or hit. And we need to be conscious of that. Tough game, really tough game. We all know about York in terms of their squad size and their resource, but like I said, I think any recruitment they do here on will be second to appointing Neil Ardley as manager. So strong team, very strong.
And finally, what's the availability of our squad looking like?
Yeah, no, very similar to Tuesday. Very similar to Tuesday. Akinola will be suspended, so he comes away. We're waiting for Cuthbert to train, but he should train today. And hopefully with a bit of luck, he can come through. Oyeleki, I'm afraid, we had some unfortunate news on his injury. I think he'll be 2 or 3 months, which is very unfortunate for the lad. Excellent pre-season and has just been dealt a bit of a cruel blow, but he'll recover stronger from this. I have no doubt about that. Grego Cox is probably the closest, maybe next Saturday at a push. Apart from that, everyone else is still injured. Brown is probably next month. Incy maybe a couple of weeks, and all the rest are 2 to 4 weeks. So the players have done brilliantly. When you think of, since the start of the season, we've had between 5 and 9 injured for every game. The effort of the players to accrue the points, the wins, the draws as they have, it's been a very good effort. We don't think by any means we're there. We'll only be there when we feel like we have a little bit more depth. That was very clear on Tuesday night, having that depth of other forwards, which has obviously been our kind of our surge of recruitment, or our intention to bring in other forwards and wide players. We were a little bit short in that area, but I think the players have done a brilliant job in August and so far in September, and we just got to keep that energy. And if we keep that energy, the supporters bring that energy, and we bring that energy. I think whatever team Woking puts out, when we combine with our supporters and vice versa, I think we're a very, very good side.
Darren, thank you for your time. Best of luck.
Thank you.